The Colts are going to lose to the Chicago Bears this week and go 0-3. How about that for a little bit of a soundbite for you? How about that for a hook, a little bit of shock value to start the video? That's what I believe right now, and it's hard to tell again. Is that just my emotion or is my intuition real, right? Like the line between whether or not that's a real thing or just me being negative because of what we've seen so far, I don't know, but I'm just telling you that's how I feel going in. And 0-3 would essentially spell the end of the season for the Indianapolis Colts. Not that they were going to do anything to begin with, right? It's not like we had dreams of a Super Bowl or anything like that, but I think a lot of us thought, you know what, we should be pushing for the playoffs, and it'd be nice to see us get a wild card game. That's what we wanted, but if the Colts were to go 0-3, which I think they're about to, I'll be honest, that's what I think is going to happen. 6 teams since the year 1979 had made the playoffs after an 0-3 start, albeit now I suppose the caveat to that is that you have an extra game, right? So maybe that stat ever so slightly faulty, but the stats are the stats, people, right? Only one team since the year 2000. That would be the 2018 Houston Texans. Now, the Bears offense, just so we're on the same page here, as I predict that the Colts aren't able to walk away with this one with a W. Bottom 5 in completion percentage right now. The worst team in the league in terms of yards per attempt. 4 yards per attempt is so horrifically bad. It's hard to even, I believe the average in the league, I don't know. I don't want to even make a claim, but I think it's like 8, 9, 10 would be considered really, really good, right? 4 yards per attempt from Caleb Williams. Not a single passing touchdown yet for Caleb Williams. They're bottom 5 in rushing yards, bottom 5 in yards per carry. So you say all of those types of things and then also come out of it with the conclusion that the Colts are going to lose the game. I'm sure some of you guys are like, Justin, not for anything. You're Mr. Positive when it comes to the Colts. How can you possibly expect the Colts to lose this game? Well, very, very, very simple. Here's how the math works out for me. When you look right now at the Colts offense and the Bears offense, kind of a very similar situation. You look at both the units and you say, there's talent surrounding these quarterbacks, right? But these guys, so early in their careers that as it currently stands, they're still trying to get their footing right now. Both of them are having a tough time consistently sustaining drives and moving the ball. Both have talent, but talent needs to actually translate to production on the field. Neither of them quite able to pull that off yet. Not to say they can't, but it hasn't happened yet. So essentially what it comes down to is whose defense do I trust more to stop the opposing offense? And sheesh, I'll tell you, I'm taking the Bears on that one, okay? I'm taking the Bears defense over the Colts defense at this point. I mean, sue me. What do you want me to tell you? I'm out here being honest with you guys. That's what I do. I tell you the truth. Colts are about to go 0-3. Now, that's not to say the Colts cannot win the game. This team knows what's at stake, right? It's not like the team doesn't understand, but the look and feel right now isn't exactly what we want it to be. But that's all right, because regardless, we're going to talk about what the Colts' keys to victory are if they are to win the game. And then on the back end of that, I will give you a little bet for the game so you can come out of Sunday happy. But before we do all that, you know what it is? I got to introduce myself. My name is Justin. This right here is the Ride on the Bench Colts podcast. As always, ask anyone watching on YouTube and enjoying the show, go ahead, shoot it a like. It's going to help me get out to as many Colts fans as humanly possible. Of course, you can subscribe if you want to be a part of the journey. We're trying to get to 2,800 right now. I've been saying that for a few episodes, guys. Click that subscribe button or don't. It's okay. It's fine. You want to leave a review on the audio version? That would be greatly appreciated. But most importantly, let's get through this so we could get through Sunday and we could talk and reel and kind of just, feel good about our 0-3 situation, okay? So for starters, listen, I'm happy to be proven wrong, okay? Let's just make that very clear. Of all the times I want to be wrong, this would be one of them. Right? But disappointment, as I always say, is rooted in expectation. So at this point, I'm almost protecting myself. I'm protecting my own emotions by saying, you know what? The Colts are going to lose this game. But on the offensive side, here are some of the keys to victory for the Indianapolis Colts. Number one, right off the bat, you have to start sustaining some drives, right? We could talk all day about how bad this defense is, and it is, right? There's no question about the fact that the Colts defense has not shown up for this team. But at the same time, the offense has really struggled to do any anything consistently at all, right? The one thing they've been able to do with consistency, it seems, is run it, but for whatever reason, they haven't quite hunkered down on that. So when you ask, how do they have sustained drives in this game? It's very simple. Get Jonathan Taylor over 20 touches in this game, period. I think it should be over 20 carries. I think if you do that, you almost have to try to lose the game. The question is, are they going to do that, right? Josh Downs returning as well. AR, so it seemed in training camp. I came out here and said to you guys, I said, listen, Michael Pittman Jr., I love what he brings to the table all the time. I think he's had a very slow start to the year. He's also been against very good corners. That's not going to change this week against Jalen Johnson. But I said that Josh Downs and AR looked like they had such a connection that we were looking at potentially a 1A and a 1B situation in terms of their target share. I thought Josh Downs had a chance to push Michael Pittman Jr. in the target department this year. Now, ultimately, would it result in more yards, more touchdowns, more receptions, et cetera, et cetera? Not the point. My only thing I'm saying is Josh Downs I view as an incredibly important piece of this offense right now. And in camp, it seemed like he was the guy, right? Albeit against our defense, yes. But when you look at the way the Bears and Matt Eberflus, our former defensive coordinator, approach the defensive side of the ball philosophically, although schematically slightly different, at the end of the day, he, much like Gus Bradley, says, let's keep everything in front of us. Let's funnel everything down into kind of that 5-yard range and force them to beat us that way. That plays right into Josh Downs' hands in terms of his skill set. So we're going to see how that goes, right? If you're just able to get Anthony Richardson with some quick and easy throws to a guy like Josh Downs and be efficient in the running game, hopefully that allows him to ease in a little bit. It kind of seems like they've been getting off script real early, but primarily because they're having a tough time completing the ball. I mean, right now the Colts offensively, and in turn Anthony Richardson, have the lowest completion percentage in the passing game in all of the league as it currently stands. I think Shane Steichen, though, albeit this doesn't completely absolve Richardson of the responsibility, I think Steichen can do a little bit better of a job in making things easy on Anthony Richardson by making sure they don't get away from the running game, and then hopefully a guy like Josh Downs brings a different element to this offense kind of underneath and kind of turns 3 yards into 10 yards, 3 yards into 12 yards, that type of thing, right? That's what I think the Colts have to do on the offensive side of the ball. Not all that, complicated. I think if the Colts score 20 points, they should be able to win this game. The question is, can they score 20 points right now with the way this offense is playing? I've got no clue. Now, defensively, keys to victory, of course, right? Stop the run, but really what it is make the Bears look like the Bears. There's no reason for them to look like anything else, okay? As I said before, in terms of completion percentage, Caleb Williams to date has been one of the worst in the league, other than what we've had to kind of watch as Colts fans. A little burp. Did you watch that? Was that gross? That was kind of gross, I think. I felt gross, regardless of the fact. The Colts have nearly allowed 80% completion percentage against them so far. That can't happen in this game. Force the Bears to look like the Bears. The Bears' offensive line has been so bad up to this point. And listen, we know how bad the Colts have been against the run. I think against the pass, they've been all right as pass rushers. I mean, I haven't been super impressed with what I've seen there, but I know they could get it done. This is what the Colts are supposed to be able to do. You run into a team like the Bears, the defensive front is supposed to take over this game. If you're Gus Bradley right now, I don't know. It's one of those. Is his job on the line in this game? If the Bears come out with the way they've been playing offense and they play absolutely spectacular, does Gus Bradley actually get fired after this game if it goes that way? Just a question. Just a question that I'm going to sneak in there. I don't know. But if you're Gus Bradley, whatever you can do not let Caleb Williams get comfortable in this game. Blitz, run stunts on the line. Whatever it is, just mix up your looks. You cannot let a guy struggling like him get comfortable just because you allow it to happen and you just wait for it to happen. I know the idea of blitzing may leave you short-handed, but that's fine, man. When a QB is struggling like Caleb Williams, see how he reacts, okay? Force him to make a damn play. And if he reacts well, then fine. Go back to doing what you were doing. But if you just let him sit there and have all day, a quarterback in the NFL is much like a shooter in basketball. A guy could be having a tough time, but in basketball, if you're having a tough shooting stretch, sometimes all it takes is getting a couple shots in for you to start feeling it. If we let Caleb Williams start stringing together completions, that kid is talented enough to have a day with some of the talent they have on the team. Keenan Allen, we know, is out. But if you go out there with Roma Dunze and DJ Moore, not for anything, that's enough at the wide receiver position for them to do some damage. We're going to see how that goes. Listen, this defense also has to make tackles in this game. Guys like Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swifty for sure, Williams, Swift, DJ Moore. These are all very, very slippery players. These are guys that can make you miss. The Colts have to make these tackles, period. It's really not all that complicated. Ultimately, if the Colts don't go out there and stink up the joint, they should beat the Chicago Bears. The problem is that right now, if you ask me, for whatever reason, maybe it's just because I'm a fan of the team, I feel like the Colts are going to find a way to lose this game. I just do. I don't know why, but that's where I'm at. That being said, we still have a bet for you. We could still make a little bit of money to hope that things end up better, or we could lose a little bit of money. You know how betting goes, and then the day is double bad. It's a double whammy of shit. But I'm staying away from the score in this game, the money line, the touchdowns, none of it. I don't want anything to do with it. The one thing I know in this game is that the Colts are going to try to get Josh Downs involved. Right now on FanDuel Sportsbook, Josh Downs, and here I am giving them a plug. They don't pay me. They should, but that's neither here nor there. Josh Downs, 5+ receptions, is plus 280 right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. I don't think the odds are ever going to get that much more favorable than that this year. I feel pretty good. Maybe he has 4, but I'm getting greedy. I'm going for 5 receptions for Josh Downs, plus 280. Seems pretty good to me over the course of a 4-quarter game. Ultimately, though, we're going to have to see. If the Colts win, great. If not, that's kind of the nature of the season that we're dealing with. And until after the game, that was it right there. Maybe I'll be a little more chipper, right, coming out of it. But right now, not feeling too great. My name is Justin. This right here was the Ryan the Bench Colts podcast. And as always, go Colts.